Coach Gaglione here from GaglioneStrength.com. We have another strong lady on the line today. Megan, how you doing tonight?
I'm good.
Good. So, funny story about Megan. There was a little kind of issue with, we have a mutual friend and Coach Jesse Burdick. So we met at USAPL Nationals this year. So I actually had to we did a little switcheroo, helped handle her. She did great. I think you might. I don't know if you remember what you placed, but I think you were definitely in the top 15 for the 57. So
I think I was 13 out of 35.
yeah, so not a bad showing. I think you got a meet PR too, which was great. So
Yeah.
so it ended up working out pretty good, even with all the craziness, all the different platforms and stuff. We made it work, so that was good. We didn't we found out where weigh-ins are and all that good stuff. So it's a little craziness.
It was a circus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little craziness, but we made it. We did okay. So for those of you watching that don't know who you are, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you got going on right now?
Okay. My name's Megan John, and I work at CrossFit Watchtower in Colorado, Denver, Colorado. I am actually a CrossFit coach, and that's kind of how I inadvertently started lifting, doing powerlifting. I also do a lot of weightlifting, so the clean and jerk and the snatch. But right now, I think powerlifting is my first love. How did I get started? I actually just kind of fell into it. I did a little bit of strongman, but I'm about 4'10" and really tiny, so I wasn't very good at strongman. It was just a fun thing to do. And my coach introduced me to a lot of powerlifting and strength stuff. So at that point, I got into that, and I just kind of fell into my first meet when I lived in Minnesota. And then I moved here with Kevin, and Kevin does bench. And so we jumped into Jesse Burdick's powerlifting programming. And from there, I think that was my fourth meet, was nationals.
Really cool. So to kind of rewind a little bit, did you ever kind of play any sports growing up? Were you always athletic, or how did you actually just kind of get started with training in general before you even got into CrossFit?
Okay. I worked at Fort Riley in Kansas for a long time. I was the fitness coordinator for 5 years. So I ran 5 gyms up there as far as their fitness programs are concerned. If you ever seen a typical army gym, they have a lot of machines in there, and CrossFit was just kind of coming about. So I was kind of the crazy girl in the corner with my headphones in. But then I also taught a lot of step aerobics, and I taught a lot of spinning classes, turbo kick classes, stuff like that. And I did some interval boot camps. But I think that's when I got into CrossFit, I started thinking less about how I looked and how I kind of fit that body image and stereotype, more into what my body could do physically, and how much I could lift. And that became the more important focus to me. And so that's kind of inadvertently how I got started lifting and becoming more performance based in my programming and training.
Cool. So you've done a handful of meets. Obviously, doing something like USAPL Nationals, a little higher level, a little bit more stiff competition. Was there ever kind of a moment where you're I don't want to just kind of dabble in this. I want to take this to the next level and really give it my all and compete at a higher level versus just kind of training to train. Was there ever a moment, or was there a light bulb kind of turned on? You're I could be pretty good at this, and you wanted to kind of take it further?
Yeah, I think I kind of found out at my first meet. Obviously, when I competed in the strongman prior to the powerlifting meet, I bombed out. I'm pretty small, so I'm not very good at pulling F-150 trucks or doing any of that stuff. So I think, and then I went to my first powerlifting meet. I didn't really understand the rules, a lot of the stuff it had to do with, but I ended up still doing very well and taking home best lifter. And I think that sparked it. Also seeing Kevin. So Kevin's in a wheelchair, so we trained together in CrossFit. And seeing that he had jumped on this powerlifting program, that really made me kind of want to pursue it as well in his training. And it was just a lot of fun. He's a great training partner. So that's kind of what sparked my interest. I've always been a competitor. So when I was in CrossFit, I was a regional competitor for 5 years. And it's definitely gotten more competitive over time. And I was ready to switch focuses. I kind of got burned out on CrossFit, and I wanted to find a new thing to
Sure.
chase.
So obviously, for maybe the people, a lot of probably my listeners, probably more like in the powerlifting world. For people that don't know, like Kevin, because I'm sure that's probably really inspirational just to see him training and kind of doing everything. Can you tell a little bit about like how it is like training with him and what it's been kind of like since like kind of his injury and like his like recovery and things like that, and how that maybe pushes you to like kind of excel a little bit more in your training?
Right. Yeah. So Kevin was injured in a competition, and he became paralyzed. So I think both of us kind of have that drive to lift and to stay competitive, even though it's mostly fun for us. We still train other people in CrossFit, but in the afternoons about 2 o'clock we train every day, and just seeing how strong he's gotten even since I've been here. I've been in Colorado since January, and watching his strength numbers go up. I think now he bench presses around 400, a little bit more. So, and I hear him talk about how he used to struggle, benching, 225.
Yeah.
So it's been really interesting seeing him grow in the sport. He's looking to get on the para Olympic team.
Nice.
So I think, just training with him, that's made me want to continue in that sport as well.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's like just kind of great to see someone do something like that, just because like a lot of people like they maybe might be in that situation and be like, oh, my career is over, I can't do anything. But it's like, well, what can I do? So focusing on what you can control, not like what you can't, and focusing on the things that you can do versus the things that you can't. So I think that's like really great advice, and definitely like a big inspiration for I think a lot of people. Like a lot of people kind of maybe feel sorry for themselves, but they're probably in like there's always someone better off. There's always someone like worse off. So I think kind of just like worrying about what you can control and kind of just doing what you can, doing your best is like great advice. So
Yeah.
have you just to kind of bounce off that idea? Like, have you ever faced any adversity yourself, any injuries or setbacks? And if so, how did you overcome them?
I had a shoulder issue, probably I think around 2013, 2014, and it was diagnosed as, now I can't remember the name of it even, but it was basically where the nerves weren't working correctly in my arm. So it was back more when I was CrossFitting, and so I would do a whole bunch of pull-ups and my arm would turn blue. Like I just wasn't, there was no nerve interaction. My right side, basically the muscles just pretty much fell off. Like I didn't have any muscle tone in my right arm anymore. And so I think that was a little bit rough for me, and it was just a syndrome. So I was like, well, what can I do to fix it? The doctor said nothing. And at that point, I said, well, how long is this going to take to go away, or will it go away? And they said anywhere from 1 to 3 years. There's nothing you can do about it. So just and so I just continued to just train and do what I could do. Obviously, I wasn't going to be as elite in my sport as I was. Since then, I really haven't had any major injuries. I stay relatively healthy. I try to take care of myself. My biggest problem, I think, these days is overtraining, just because that's what I love to do is train. So taking rest days is hard.
Totally. And one thing I want to kind of just because like I said, we had that experience kind of working together just for the nationals meet. I know like we you missed your bench opener, right?
Yeah.
So which is kind of funny, but we ended up getting back. So when you're at a big meet like that and you kind of miss your opening attempt, like what's kind of going through your head, and what were some things that kind of helped you kind of like come back and like nail it and ultimately finish the meet and like I said hit a PR total. So that was pretty cool. So what was like going through your head like when that happened?
I think one, to listen to you. You were there as my coach, and you told me to widen my feet, and I never would have thought about that. My hips came up. Bench always makes me nervous because I haven't had a lot of experience with it. So, and I usually miss the pause at the bottom. I have a hard time waiting for that call. So I think after that, I mean, you have to hit your opener. If you get 2 other chances, but really you just got to clear your head and get back out there and do what you can. I was really focused on that touch, and I just didn't see my hips come up. And I don't know if anything, just go out there and try it again and make it.
Just focus on the next attempt. I think that's like
Right.
kind of the
Yeah.
best thing. So I think that was cool because I think a lot of times people like they kind of panic in that situation and like it happens. We actually just had a girl this past weekend and she ended up qualifying for the XBC, which is like the knee wrap meet at the Arnold, which is great. But she missed her squat opener and her bench opener. She missed her first squat and then she ended up nailing it and then she missed she jumped the press command and I was like, "Are you trying to make this interesting for me, or like, you driving me crazy?" But she ended up pulling the qualifying total on her third attempt deadlift, and it was like a real grind. So it was really cool to like. She was like in tears. It was pretty awesome. So but I think it's just like you got to just take it one lift at a time, and whatever's in the past, kind of just let it go, and then kind of move on. So I think that's like really great advice. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, so so you do some weightlifting also. So for people that maybe want to kind of maybe dabble a little bit in both, I know you said maybe your focus is powerlifting right now, but if you want to maybe kind of do both sports, what advice do you have for someone that maybe wants to do a little bit of weightlifting and powerlifting at the same time?
I think it's super tricky as far as training's concerned. I have to know what to put on the back burner. Most days I do a powerlifting and a weightlifting program, and then I do accessory work for both as I have time to do that, and as my body feels. So I think you have to, one, listen to your body. I just finished actually Nationals Masters weightlifting in New York a couple weeks ago. And I had to know.
You're in New York, and you don't even tell me. You don't even say hello.
Oh, I didn't know you were up there. Is that where you're from?
Well, we're in Long Island. I'm just busting your chops, but yeah.
Well, I knew that I had to put the bench on the back burner, just as far as snatch positioning. Otherwise, I start bench pressing my snatch weight, and that usually doesn't work out very well. It ends up being forward. And so I quit benching about 2 weeks out in front of that meet. And I mean, if you're going to dabble in both, I usually try to do my snatch and my clean and jerk first, just because of your CNS and what your body can take as far as like the speed work is concerned. And after that, then I'll do the powerlifting. I think you have to be like listening to your body, knowing when you're tired, knowing when you need to take a rest day. I think all those things are super important. But I mean, I think it's doable. I know I had a frustrating meet at Nationals because I didn't hit what I normally hit. But I think that could be that way for any meet. So I might have done a couple things different, given myself a little bit more rest between. The other thing I would say is try to stay relatively close weight class wise to one to the next. I tried to jump down a weight class, and that probably didn't help either sport any.
And then the next question I wanted to ask, if someone was kind of maybe on the fence, they're just getting started, or maybe they're not sure if they want to compete, what advice would you give someone that's maybe like just getting started with powerlifting and they want to maybe do a meet, or they're not sure if maybe they're afraid to kind of start?
There's no reason to be scared of a meet. I mean, I would say, like, and one of the things that you helped me with definitely in Nationals was pick your openers, pick something you're confident with. I know I wanted to go up, and you were like, just kind of stay.
Let's just pick this number instead.
Yeah, this is good. So I mean, there's nothing to lose if you're gonna try a meet. There's some good training programs out there, and just pick something you're comfortable with, especially for your first meet. I went in there and I had no clue what I was doing. The powerlifting meet with the people there were very forgiving and very, helpful. So I had plenty of help, even though I didn't know a soul there. People kind of took me under their wing, told me the rules, told me what to do, told me what I needed. So I think that, there's nothing to lose. Go out there and try it. It's not going to be punishing in any way, and take it as a learning experience and then figure out where you want to go from there.
All right, very cool. I think that's great advice. And so for the people that maybe are in your area or maybe they want to follow what you're doing, where can people find out more about you?
I work at CrossFit Watchtower. So that's in Inglewood, Colorado. Instagram, I'm Megan, Megan, with another N, John at Instagram.com. So, or Instagram. I don't know what the thing is, but yeah, that's it.
On the interwebs.
On the interwebs, yeah.
All right, so thank you so much, Megan, for coming on. I appreciate it. It was great watching you compete and helping you out this past October, and we're looking forward to see what you do in the future. Definitely show her some love. If you guys are in the area, definitely check out the gym. We've got great people over there, awesome community over there. Lots of great stuff going on there. Give her a follow, drop a comment below. Please check out the links below. If this interview helped you, please share it and give us a 5-star review. It helps other people find us. And thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you soon.